And in an Islamic context, you can have different types of jihad. But Muhammad over and over again talked about a specific type of jihad, where it's actually going out and fighting and subjugating people. And he says, this is the best type of jihad. And then people like Zakir Naik try to deceive people and say, well, yeah, we believe in jihad, but that can mean all kinds of things. Well, true, right? But we're talking about what Muhammad said about a particular type of jihad. Let me quote two passages, and then we'll get into more deep into Dr. Naik's claims. Sunan Ibn Majah, 2794. I came to the Prophet and said, O Messenger of Allah, which jihad is best? So he's granting that there are different types of jihad, right? He's granting that there are different types of jihad. But he wants to know which one is best. O Messenger of Allah, which jihad is best? He said, this is Muhammad, he said, that of a man whose blood is shed and his horse is wounded. Does this sound like a person who's just struggling against his sinful desires? No. This is talking about getting bloody in combat. So it involves fighting, right? And why, according to Muhammad, why are you fighting? According to the best type of fighting, fighting in Allah's way, jihad, what is the goal of such fighting? Well, Muhammad tells us in Sahih al-Bukhari 28:10, narrated Abu Musa, a man came to the Prophet and asked, a man fights for war booty, another fights for fame, and a third fights for showing off. Which of them is in Allah's cause? So which of them is fighting correctly for Allah? The Prophet said, he who fights that Allah's word be superior is in Allah's cause. The one who's going out fighting, remember the best type of fighting is fighting that involves physical bloodshed. And what type? What does this involve? Why are you doing it? Well, the best kind is for the sake of making Allah's
Sister, the best jihad, highest level, is jihad against your own self. Jihad fi nafs. Highest level. And you can go to any level which Quran gives permission. You should not break the Sharia. Whatever you can go the highest level, but within the purview of the Islamic Sharia. You can't go outside the purview of the Islamic Sharia. So the best jihad is jihad against your own nafs. And for example, we have the example in the life of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You have the revelations at the time which was revealed during the time of Makkah, called as Makki surahs. We have the examples of Madni surahs. The major difference is Makki surahs are more talking about Iman and strengthening, etc. And the Madni surah, how to establish the deen, Aqamat al-Deen, about jihad. We know that in Medina, when the Muslims became more powerful compared to before, there was war, etc., talking about jihad, etc., talking about the qital, fighting of war. But the jihad that was done at the time of Makkah, when the mushriks of Makkah, when they tortured and killed many of the Muslims, there were people who could fight, like Hazrat Hamza, may Allah be pleased with him, Hazrat Umar, may Allah be pleased with him. They wanted to retaliate. They were warriors. But the Prophet said, do sabr. Sabr was the jihad. If you have the power to fight back and you hit back, it is good. You have the power to hit back and you're told to do sabr and you don't hit back, that is a higher level of jihad. The people wanted to say, who are these people killing my brother? I want to fight back, I have the power. He was called as the lion of the desert. People used to fear him. But the Prophet said, you have no permission. So his jihad was controlling himself, sabr. So the jihad keeps on changing in different times. Jihad, sister, doesn't mean only going in the battlefield. That's one type of jihad. And Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha, the wife of the Prophet, she asked the Prophet that should we go for jihad, talking about going to fight in war? Prophet said, it's mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, poem number 4, hadith number 2784. The Prophet said, the best jihad for you is to perform a perfect Hajj. Hajj was the best jihad for Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha. Another time it's mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, a person asked the Prophet that should he go for jihad, talking about the qital, fighting. The Prophet said, do you have parents? He said, yes. The best jihad for you is to serve your parents. So the best jihad keeps on changing depending upon the situation. At the time it mentioned Sunnah Nisai, the Prophet said, to speak a word of truth against a tyrant ruler is the best form of jihad. That doesn't mean that for everyone serving the parents is the best form of jihad. Because the Prophet knew that his parents required him. So depending upon the time, sister, the best type of jihad keeps on changing. And what is the best level you can go? You can sacrifice whatever you can. And during one of the qitals, one of the jihad, Prophet asked the Sahabas, whatever maximum you can give, you give in charity for the qital. And very famous hadith. Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, he was a very rich person he was. He bought half the wealth and he gave to the Prophet. And he said that, MashaAllah, I have given half my wealth. And he thought that he was the highest, indicating that he will get the best of reward. Isn't he the best? The Prophet replied, Hazrat Abu Bakr, the first Caliph of Islam, radiallahu anhu, he gave his full wealth. So he will get a better reward than Hazrat Umar. In terms of quantity, the wealth that Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu gave was a very less compared to the wealth given by Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu. But the percentage he gave was 100%. So the sawab that he will get will be much more than Hazrat Umar. May Allah be pleased with him. So he gave everything of his wealth. He'll get a better reward. So whatever permission Allah gives you in the Sharia, you can go to that extent for performing jihad. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you.
The basic use of the word jihad is a struggle to be a good Muslim, a struggle to live by the codes of Islam. That is the original meaning of jihad.
Jihad translates as struggle. It is marked by two distinct forms, the lesser jihad and the greater. Greater jihad, a phrase first used by Muhammad himself, refers to the internal struggle to improve one's soul and become a better human being in the eyes of God. Greater jihad is given more prominence in Islamic tradition. But lesser jihad has historically garnered more attention and controversy.
The lower form of jihad is a physical jihad. When you are attacked, your family is attacked, your wife is attacked, your children are attacked, you must stand up and fight back.
Chapter 22, verse 39. Permission to take up arms is hereby granted to those who are attacked. They have suffered injustice. God has all the power to give them victory.
A good Muslim, if Islam is under siege or the community is under siege, has the right, indeed may have the obligation, to defend his faith or her faith, the community, or oneself.
The concept of jihad as battle would soon be cast in a new light for those who lived by the Quran.
آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره من الله والبعث بعد الموت لا إله إلا الله آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره من الله والبعث بعد الموت لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله